Hello, everyone. A lovely evening. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा. I'm sure अगस्त के महीने में स्वतंत्रता दिवस को मनाते हुए हम सभी के अंदर जो जोश भर जाता है, आज हम उस सब को महसूस कर पा रहे हैं. जब भी हम एक स्वतंत्र भारत की बात करते हैं, तो हम हर उस जिसमें अभी भी स्वतंत्रता को असल मायने में पहचाने जाने की जरूरत है. स्वतंत्रता का परिणाम है हमारे देश में बसे हुए वो सारे सैनिक जिनका कोई लिंग भेद नहीं होता, क्योंकि जब वो बॉर्डर पे हमारे देश का प्रोटेक्शन कर रहे होते हैं, तो वहां कोई औरत या आदमी नहीं होता, वहां सिर्फ एक सिपाही होता है. लेकिन भगवान की संरचना और स्त्री का शरीर, ये दोनों बातें उतनी ही आपस में जुड़ी हुई और सच हैं और जो नकारी नहीं जा सकती, कि थोड़ा सा परिवर्तन अब आने लगा है स्त्रियों को लेकर के. और वो परिवर्तन इसी वजह से आने लगा है क्योंकि हर स्त्री ने अब अपने आप को पहचानना शुरू कर दिया है, अपनी क्षमता को पहचानना शुरू कर दिया है और अपने बारे में खड़े होकर बोलने की हिम्मत जुटा ली है. अब गए वो दिन जब घर में एक कोने में बैठ के माँ रो रही होती थी और पता भी नहीं होता था कि माँ रो क्यों रही है. अब गए वो दिन जब घर की स्त्रियां अपना दर्द छुपा लेती थी और घर के लोगों को पता भी नहीं होता था कि क्या दर्द है और क्या पीड़ा है. अब गए वो दिन जब हम एक पुरुष प्रधान देश की बात किया करते थे, क्योंकि आज हर क्षेत्र में स्त्रियां भी उतनी ही अग्रणी हैं जितने कि पुरुष. और हम यहाँ किसी तुलना की बात नहीं कर रहे, हम यहाँ किसी ऊंच नीच या भेदभाव की बात नहीं कर रहे, हम यहाँ पे उस हिम्मत की बात कर रहे हैं जो आज के देश की, आज की भारत की स्त्रियों ने जुटाई है कि हम भी कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर एक नए भारत का निर्माण कर सकते हैं, जहां पर ये एक आशा हमेशा रहती है कि स्त्रियों को जो उनकी शरीर की संरचना को लेकर के एक भेद मिला है, उसको स्वीकारा जाए, उसको भी उतनी ही इज्जत दी जाए जितनी हमें अपने कार्य में आगे बढ़ने पर, सफलता बढ़ने पर दी जाती है. अब क्योंकि मैं स्वतंत्रता दिवस की बात कर रही हूं और अगस्त के महीने की बात कर रही हूं, तो आज मैं आपकी होस्ट रुचि गौतम पंत कुछ ऐसी स्त्रियों को अपने साथ लेकर के आई हूं जिन्होंने न कि सिर्फ हमारे देश का सम्मान सब संजो के रखा है, बल्कि वो आज उन सभी मुद्दों के बारे में बात करने में नहीं घबराती हैं जो कभी न कभी चुनौती के रूप में उन्होंने सामना किया था. अब वो चुनौती चाहे ही भारत की सीमा पर किसी दुश्मन से लड़ने में रही हो, या वो चुनौती चाहे ही जब वो अपना रोल निभा रही थी, जब वो अपना देश की सीमा पर जाके अपने अपने उस जगह पे, उस वातावरण पे अपने आप को दिन पर दिन संजो रही थी, संभाल रही थी, हम उन चुनौतियों की भी आज बात करने वाले हैं. तो आज मैं अपने साथ लेकर के आई हूं देश की उन स्ट्रॉन्ग महिलाओं को जिन्होंने वर्दी में अपने उस रोल को निभाया है जो मां के नाम को परिपूर्ण करता है. तो मैं लेकर आई हूं आज कैप्टन श्वेता मिश्रा मैम को, जो कि भारतीय सेना को रिप्रेजेंट कर रही हैं. मैम इंडियन आर्मी से आती हैं और ये खुद भी ये बताते हुए मुझे बहुत गर्व महसूस हो रहा है कि कारगिल विजय के लिए श्वेता मिश्रा मैम का बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा है. दूसरे मेरे साथ जुड़े हैं कमांडर प्रभालाल मैम, जो इंडियन नेवी से आती हैं. एक और महिला उस सशक्तिकरण में जुड़ती हुई जो आज हमारे साथ पिंकिश फाउंडेशन के साथ अपने सभी विचारों को प्रस्तुत करने वाली हैं और हमारे एक छोटे से इनिशिएटिव का समर्थन भी करने के लिए यहाँ पर हामी भरकर बैठी हैं। मैं इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहूंगी डिप्यूटी कमांडेंट निहारिका मैम को, जो इंडियन कोस्ट गार्ड सर्विसेज से आती हैं और जिन्होंने न सिर्फ सच्चाई से, दृढ़ता से देश की सीमा को संभालने का जज्बा दिखाया, बल्कि आज वो अपने क्षेत्र में अपने परिवार के साथ चलते हुए जो भी इस क्षेत्र में महिला सशक्तिकरण के क्षेत्र में जो भी आगे बन पड़ रहा है उसमें पूरा अपना योगदान निभा रही हैं। हमारे साथ कुछ ही देर में स्क्वाड्रन लीडर सोनिया मैम भी जुड़ जाएंगे। वो किसी कारण से थोड़ा लेट हो गई हैं, बट वो शीघ्र ही हमारे साथ होंगी। तो मेरे पैनल पे उपस्थित सभी महिलाओं को एक जय हिंद। आप सभी से बात करते हुए मुझे इतना गर्व महसूस हो रहा है, और यकीन मानिए मैम, पिछले 4 दिनों से मेरे घर में एक जो माहौल बना हुआ है, हमारे यहाँ 15 अगस्त को भी होली, दिवाली, ईद की तरह मनाया जाता है। हमारे यहाँ घर में, मैं अपने घर की बात कर रही हूँ, जहाँ 2 मेरी छोटी बेटियां मुझे देखती हैं और 3-4 दिनों से वो आप लोगों की प्रोफाइल्स देख रही हैं, है ना, कि क्या इन मैम लोगों ने किया है, कैसे। गुंजन सक्सेना मेरे यहाँ मूवी चल रही है, मेरे यहाँ अलग अलग पेट्रियोटिज्म पे मूवीज चल रही हैं, और वो बच्चे देखना चाहते हैं, समझना चाहते हैं कि हमारे लिए तो लाइफ बहुत इजी है, हाँ, पर क्या इन लोगों ने ऐसे योगदान किए हैं, कैसे इन लोगों ने उन चुनौतियों का सामना किया, कि आज इस बारे में बात करने के लिए हम आगे आए हैं। और हम इस बारे में भी बात करेंगे कि जब भी हम किसी सिस्टम की बात करते हैं, हम किसी सिस्टम को नीचा या ऊंचा दिखाना नहीं चाहते। हम जब भी किसी सिस्टम की बात करते हैं तो हम इस मुद्दे पे बात करना चाहते हैं कि अभी और क्या स्कोप है, अभी और भी क्या चीजें बेटर की जाती हैं, क्योंकि बीइंग सीनियर्स हम ये चाहते हैं कि हमारे जूनियर्स जो अब आएंगे या आने वाली जो पीढ़ी है, उन्हें उन चुनौतियों का सामना न करना पड़े जो हमने किया था। तो आप लोगों को मेरा प्यार भरा नमस्कार, और एक एक करके मैं आप लोगों से सवाल पूछूंगी, और मैं आशा करती हूं कि आप लोगों के जवाब आज भारत की महिलाओं को शायद ये सोचने पे मजबूर कर देंगे कि घर में बैठकर, हाँ, और देश की सीमा चलाकर, देश की सीमा पे देश की सुरक्षा करने में जो गर्व महसूस होता है, जो छोटी छोटी बातें, परेशानियां हम कहकर भी नहीं कहना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं हम ये सोचते हैं कि इससे कहीं तुलना ना बढ़ जाए, इससे कहीं स्त्री को कम ना आंक लिया जाए। तो कहीं ना कहीं हमने वो दर्द संभाले होंगे, हमने उन चुनौतियों का डटकर सामना किया होगा, और उसके बाद हम आज इस स्टेज पे बैठे हैं जहां हम इस बारे में खुलेआम, जिसकी थीम है सेलिब्रेटिंग वुमेन इन यूनिफॉर्म हु सेलिब्रेट पीरियड्स। सो सबसे पहला सवाल मैं कैप्टन श्वेता मैम से जानना चाहूंगी, उनको ही पूछना चाहूंगी कि क्योंकि आप कारगिल युद्ध में भी थी, आप कारगिल युद्ध में सेंटर से संभाल रही थी, जैसा कि मेरा आपसे बात से, इंटरेक्शन से रहा पता चला, तो क्या आपको लगता है कि मासिक धर्म क्या कहीं भी आपके पेशे में, आपके जब आप सीमा संभाल रही थी, आप उस समय का वो क्रूशियल युद्ध संभाल रही थी, क्या इसने आपको किसी भी तरीके से रोका?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Ruchi, and beautiful words about women in uniform. I really admire your appreciation for us all. And my good evening to all the fellow advocates of change also. I'm deeply honored to be with you today. For Kargil War, Dr. Ruchi, everyone who participated in Kargil War was not on the border. There were some who were in the logistics, there were some who were in the signals, there were some who were in the electrical and mechanical departments. My role was in the ordnance, Army Ordnance Corps. So I was somewhere responsible for the supply chain management, and I was posted in a place where my responsibility was to ensure that all the spare parts of armored fighting vehicles reach the destination in time. That was the time when time obviously was a matter of life and death. So yes, it was a crucial time. I was not particularly posted in Kargil, but I was posted somewhere where my responsibility was to ensure that the resources reach the people who are fighting. And that was the time when my daughter was just few months old. I had just joined after my maternity leave. So my struggle as a mother, I mean, I was still exploring my my own body, my own baby, my own role as a mother, and then as a lady officer. So certainly those were challenging times. So I don't know whether my periods were or menstrual hygiene factors were in any way obstructing my duties. I would say certainly not, because I was posted at a place at that point in time where I could handle those issues, my own personal hygiene and my own menstrual issues deftly. But I certainly recall another duration or another point in time. I don't know if I would rather, in fact, narrate now itself, rather than waiting for your next question to come. When I was first posted in my initial most, first year of my service, I was from the initial most batches of women who had joined Indian forces. So, when you are first there are no paths. You have to, blaze the trail. So I was posted in an ammunition depot, first ever woman to be posted in this ammunition depot, very remote place in the desert area. And I was the only woman. So when I'm talking in terms of the sanitary products availability, the first ever women to be there. There were soldiers, there were male officers, there were male people from other ranks, and there was facilities to cater to their requirement. Say CSD canteens are there, so that their toiletries and their shaving kits and soaps and biscuits, those items are catered for men. But concept of women was the very, very new. I being the first one in the unit, in that extreme desert area, in the remote area this unit was located. So the availability of sanitary product was not there. So I remember waiting for a particular, a weekend or a Sunday. I remember I got a Sunday. Sundays in armed forces doesn't mean holiday. You can be a duty officer, you can be having conferences, you can be having anything. Sundays doesn't necessarily mean holiday. So I had desperately waited for a free Sunday, which I got. And I took a scooter. I used to have an old Vespa scooter, my father's, which used to keep going off road every now and then. So one free Sunday morning I rode on that scooter on a sandstorm, extreme sandstorm, riding to a nearest city, which was around 30-35 kilometers. Absolutely new city. I had gone to Jodhpur for the first time, and then exploring for a shop from where I could find my stuff. So yes, I had my own challenges. Of course, having been there for longer duration, I ensured that the sanitary products where CSD canteen was adequately stocked with the appropriate stuffs for the girls who were posted later. So my point is, sanitary products should be available to each and every girl, wherever she is, whatever she is doing. It should be easily available. And that availability should be ensured by each one of us. And this particular awareness session, I totally compliment Pinkish Foundation. I totally compliment you for bringing up this awareness session, because when such awareness sessions will be conducted, people will be aware of such requirements. People will stock their whatever places where women are working for their benefits. So I will stop there. I have a lot more experiences, but I realize you have questions for each one. Yeah.
I absolutely understand, ma'am. And with due respect, I'm sure this never came on your way when you were serving nation. But as a woman, somewhere you had that thought, what if I was better served in that manner? I probably would have done a better something would have motivated from me inside. Something would have made me feel better as a woman at workplace. Yeah, so probably somewhere I'm trying to find that connect. So I would now like to come to Commander Prabhalal ma'am with the context, ma'am, that environment is changing, scenarios are changing, and the changes are remarkable. And it is because of, with due support from Shweta ma'am, which she said, that because women have started standing for themselves. Women have started ensuring that the next generation, whomsoever enters the forces or any organization for that matter, they have this, in hand. They have this power in hand, they have this flexibility, they have this facility, basic facility in hand, like any washroom in the organizations. No. So Commander Prabhalal ma'am, my question to you would be, do you feel that there is sufficient support and understanding in your workplace regarding menstruation related challenges and things?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchi. I would say anything is not available to anybody right from the beginning. As Captain Shweta, she mentioned, she was one of the pioneers in joining the Indian Armed Forces. But when I joined, things were pretty much better, I would say. The availability of menstrual hygiene products in CSD canteens was like it was freely available. Gone are those days, if you all remember, when we were kids. So if you have to go to a chemist shop and you had to ask, or your parents had to buy a sanitary napkin, so it would be first wrapped in a newspaper and then in that kala polythene, as if it was a taboo kind of thing. But yes, this everybody will remember. Yes. So now that taboo has been, the society has somehow accepted is as a normal sabun or whatever. So even in CSD canteens, it is available right now, and there is no shame or something like wrapping or in a newspaper or something. It is as if a normal product. That is one. So first is availability. I always feel that for a women, when we talk about freedom to express or do anything, there are two very important products which has led to which has contributed to women's freedom. The first is contraceptives and the second is menstrual sanitary products and all. Otherwise you can't even think of doing anything. नहीं तो वो बच्चे पैदा कर करके पालते पालते ही उनका हालत खराब. Second is periods. During periods, these days we have good quality sanitary pads. Imagine me in the Indian Navy. Our uniform is white. Unlike the other sister services, our uniform is white. Subah se leke sham tak, you're supposed to don that uniform and it is white. Now, if you are having your periods, fir kya hai? So it's good quality of sanitary napkins, which always helped. That was there. And as you mentioned, challenges definitely were there. As an organization, I won't say that it has been openly spoken about, but yes, we women officers of today do not feel shame in talking about this. So we like, I feel it, I had never, if I had my period started or something, I would just walk up and say, excuse me sir, I need to go to the to my house for a change or something. And then some people, they will understand, some people will not understand. So if they are not understanding, to kehte hain na, muh fat hoke bol do. So it's okay. Excuse me, sir. My period started. I'll just get back in 15 minutes. So they were, it's not that they were not cooperating कि हाँ ये क्या वो क्या. It is just like कभी उनसे ऐसे किसी ने बात नहीं करी. So कभी ना कभी कहते हैं ना शुरुआत होनी है. In my house, I follow gender neutral parenting. मैंने अपने, मेरा बेटा क्लास 11th में है, बेटी क्लास 6th में है. मैंने अपने बेटे से पीरियड्स के बारे में खुला खुला बात किया है. So as a society, I feel it is necessary कि हम अपने बच्चों में भी वो इनकलकेट करें कि कोई टैबू नहीं है, कोई न्यूज़पेपर में बांधने वाली चीज नहीं है. As an organization, yes, slowly, कई जगह I was the first women to be posted. So bathroom था ही नहीं, lady officers का कोई अलग से bathroom था ही नहीं. So that doesn't mean that you are going to stop working. You have to find a solution. It's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's okay. So challenges were there, but solutions are definitely, for every problem there is a solution.
Absolutely, ma'am. I strongly agree, because I understand women like you would have never let this problem come on your way to, which gave you a thought, we can't do this or we can't handle this, because there's no option when you're serving the nation. and I'm sure you all must have beautifully overcame whatever problems and opportunities and things you faced. I'm sure you were able to carve that even beautiful, and made the life easier for the next generation who joined in. So we have Deputy Commandant Niharika ma'am, and in a short conversation with Niharika ma'am, she had a beautiful story to tell. She had her own experience to tell. So Deputy Commandant Niharika ma'am, I would like to come up to you with this specific question. How did you manage your menstrual cycle while on duty in the challenging environment? Because still Indian forces, armed forces are known for male dominating forces. Yeah, the percentage of women joining forces is less, but now the scenario has changed. But I'm sure Deputy Commandant Niharika ma'am has her own story to tell and share with us, to help us know how we have gradually shifted from that zero to some stage in towards the count of 100. Yes, Niharika ma'am.
A very good evening to Dr. Ruchi Pant and the panelists. This is Deputy Commandant Niharika. And as you said, that what are the challenges you faced? As my predecessors have already spoken, that women officers have recently, I mean, of course, it has been almost 2 decades that lady officers have joined, and slowly but steadily, change is coming. But then I think that we have been entrusted with the responsibility to be harbingers of change. That okay, we will pave way for future generations to come, where periods are no longer a taboo, okay, or something that should not be spoken about. It is uh, talking about the armed forces. It is not that people are not cooperative or understanding. It is just that they might not have faced such a situation where maybe a colleague is having her periods and someone needs to help out, or the flying schedule needs to be changed, or some minor adjustments may need to be made. But luckily I have been blessed with colleagues. In the worst case scenario, if I've needed a short break or a short resting period, obviously I was in the flying branch, so flying cannot be cancelled. Okay, but yes, definitely some leeway was given if and when the requirement arose. Maybe a short rest of 15 minutes, even that helps. And it is more important that the attitude of understanding, okay, and yes, it's not about just about equality. It is about, okay, women do have different needs and we do need to cater to them. So this, with this mindset seeping in, I'm sure change is very much on its way.
Absolutely, ma'am. And the beautiful answer shows me that there is no more a need to talk about what happened in the past. Probably we are moving towards a more progressive India, and we are trying to do every bit of where the basicest need. We talk about the washrooms in every villages. We talk about number of things in different schools and colleges and villages area, and this still happens to be one of those prime issues where we still do workshops in different rural villages, and we still got to know that there are some ladies who still are using clothes, things like mud or cow dung, to manage their periods. So this is still is a issue wherein we are not able to reach those areas, probably for the awareness, probably for the education, where it is required. So there are still untouched areas where we still need to go focus and understand what they are doing and how they are managing it. So coming with you all on this special occasion of what we call is Purva Sandhya of Swatantrata Divas. जब भी हम स्वतंत्रता की बात करते हैं, अभी हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया, स्वतंत्रता मीन्स हर उस मायने में स्वतंत्रता को महसूस कर पाना कि मैं अपने से जुड़ी कोई भी बात करूं और मुझे उसको बोलने में संकोच ना हो. पर क्योंकि वो रिचुअल्स, वो नियम ऐसे चले आ रहे हैं कि कुछ चीजों को हमेशा छिपाया गया, हाँ, कुछ चीजों को बोलने की अनुमति नहीं दी गई खुलेआम, और वो शायद हम लोगों ने अपने घर परिवार में कहीं ना कहीं फेस किया है. Except those progressive families जिनके यहाँ बहुत समय से ये बातें डिस्कस हो रही हैं. But if you talk about me, I come from that family जहाँ पे इस बारे में खुलेआम बात करने की अनुमति नहीं थी. यही कारण है शायद आज मैं यहाँ बैठ के इस बारे में बात करना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है वो ट्रॉमा क्या होता है. मुझे पता है वो ट्रॉमा क्या होता है जब आप पेन किसी महसूस कर पा रहे हो और आप खुलेआम बात नहीं कर पा रहे हो। एंड आई एम श्योर आप लोगों को सबको इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाने का भी यही मकसद था कि आप लोगों ने देश सेवा के आड़े में कुछ भी नहीं आने दिया होगा, विच आई एम श्योर अबाउट। हाँ, आप लोगों ने हर उस चीज को मुस्कुराते हुए, मैम, कमांडर प्रभा लाल मैम ने कहा व्हाइट ड्रेस होती थी, सो दैट दैट क्वेश्चन वुड हैव ऑलवेज बी देयर, एम आई सेफ? I hope that there is no spot on the dress. Similarly with Captain Shweta ma'am, hours long duties on wherever you were based, and I'm sure there must have been times when we now talk about to change their pads in 6 to 8 hours, but you must have not got that time even for 12 hours, to go and use that washroom. And similarly with Niharika ma'am, as she said, she immediately got periods and she had a sortie, but she had to move to that sortie because she can't cancel it. There was no provision of alternating, or so I with due respect, my another question to Captain Shweta ma'am, what do you think still we can talk about the changes and the improvements, for the Indian armed forces or India as overall, that you think could be made for better support of women in India, and specifically for women in uniform during their menstrual cycles? Please, ma'am.
Yeah, so Dr. Ruchi, you spoke about rural areas and how girls are using, makeshift things like cloth and cow dung, etc., to handle their menstrual hygiene. I will talk about, people don't talk about periods. People don't talk about menstrual hygiene at all. It is a taboo. I myself had an upbringing in a big city, Jabalpur. I studied in the best school, Christchurch School, English school, all girls school. But during our school days, all those years, there was never a moment when we talked about periods openly, when we discussed menstrual hygiene. So what are you talking about villages? I'm talking about city. I'm talking about English speaking best school of a big enough city. People don't talk about it. It is Indian culture. It is very, very taboo. During my college days, I joined NCC. I remember I had fair enough. I take pride in sharing that I was, all India best parade commander. I was the parade commander of the joint contingent of Army, Navy, and Air Wing girls on Rajpath, which is called Kartavya Path. So I was there as a parade commander. So I had my share of achievements in NCC. It is in NCC days for the first time when I joined those NCC camps, I heard girls talking about periods openly. And I must admit, we used to feel very awkward. There was this one girl in our group, Roli Pandey. I would take her name also with due respect, because she was the one who used to talk about it, and we used to feel awkward and embarrassed about it, And what she used to do, she used to laugh about it. Laugh about what? Because most of the time when we girls had period, we never said, I'm having my periods. We would use code words, secret language to express that, we are having periods. And that is what used to be the butt of all the jokes that were there. Something like, meri auntie aayi hui hai. So that used to be, these were the kind of code words that we used to use. And why? Because when we were doing our NCC practices, whether it was drill, cross country, cultural events, firing range, anywhere, whatever we were doing in our NCC camps, there were boy cadets with us. There were male instructors with us. And to our understanding, we were not supposed to disclose these things to them. These matters should remain hush-hush with them. They are not supposed to know this. Why? Don't know. That is how it has been. That is not how things should be. There should not be a reason for code words and secret languages. Men should be brought into the discussions. Men should be informed about these things as much as girls and women get information about it. Just when people are talking about it, when such sessions are there more, then there will be a comfort level in discussing it. Then there will be a ease in organizing events where women, when have issues, they are able to express it, and there is a support system for them. So men should be brought in and mainstreamed with the information. One, and
Absolutely.
two, girls should be able to talk about it. It should not be hush hush. And three, to believe that such taboos and restrictions and mental models remain only in villages. is absolutely wrong. Cities, metropolitans, most modern of the societies to have these restrictions, these psychological barriers, which need to be broken, I believe so. So yeah, Dr. Ruchi, yeah, please.
Absolutely. I strongly agree. And I understand what you're saying, ma'am, because you know that we have started this series of online events, and I really have to, request people, juggle up with them in making them understand why we are doing it. And still, believe me, you ladies are the first ladies who said yes in one go. I must appreciate that. Probably the upbringing in that workplace has been such that you want to talk about it. But there are people, those who deny. We are not comfortable. We don't want to talk about it. And I'm proud to share. My daughter got her first periods last year, and we celebrated it. We did not celebrate it because we wanted to get that social media hype, or we celebrated it because we wanted to do something very different and bigger. But we celebrated the ease with which my daughter accepted her first periods. Yeah. So the year on counseling, and then simply she walks up to me, mama, this is what happened, I need your help. So probably that was the ease we as a parent we were looking. And absolutely, to mention it here, Shata ma'am, I have two daughters, and I proudly say my husband is equally responsible for managing them all through whatever phase of life it is. So we are trying, as Prabha ma'am said, it happens from home. She has been counseling her son as well on what is the natural process of human bodies. And I don't know, even आंटी आई है से मुझे याद आया, श्वेता माँ, मेरे घर में बताया जाता था मम्मा को आज छिपकली नहीं काटा है तो उनको छूना नहीं है. So I come from Uttarakhand. That was a village. I come from a Brahmin family where my mom was not allowed to cook food for 5 days. So in the kitchen, who would be there? Either my father would be there, or some male would be there in the family who would cook the food for 5 days. So I have been through that journey, which made me realize and which made me work in this area. Why? Because हमें महीना नहीं होगा, हमें मासिक धर्म नहीं होगा, तो ये generation है ही नहीं. So it's a matter of pride, but then we chose to hide it, and I have no reasons. So my next question is directed towards Prabha ma'am. Prabha ma'am, I see those wonderful photos that you've been a part of different beautiful clubs, and you have been celebrating the women around you, and you're part of different clubs. So I want to understand from you, ma'am, uh, is there any initiative or practice or policy in place that you all see as the women from armed forces that you think can promote open discussions about periods, as well as its impact on women in uniform and women in anywhere around the world, or pan India? So do you think, can we think about some policies, some discussions, some strategy which should be made inclusive for armed forces, where such forums must happen, and something should be done for the women who are in the areas, sometimes that morale boost is required, but they can't talk. But nowadays things are changing. So do you see any policies and procedures in place, or you feel it should happen now?
Yeah. See, I won't say there is a specific policy right now in place, but yes, as mentioned earlier, like if there is a provision, I would say that in case you're having your periods, you can go to the medical inspection room and the doctor will assess you. And as it is said that like we have 5 fingers and all fingers are not the same. Similarly, let's say I may be totally okay with having my periods, not having any pain, but the other lady may have. So we shouldn't judge. उसको तो पेट दर्द होता है या फिर वो बहाने बना रही है और मुझे नहीं हो रहा है, मेरे को तो एक ही दिन हो रहा है या 2 दिन हो रहा है, वो कैसे उसको हेवी ब्लीडिंग हो रही है. So this type of judgment shouldn't be there. That's one. Second is, yes, in our organization and definitely in the armed forces, this provision is already there that in case you're not feeling well, you can report to the doctor and the doctor can suggest you rest depending on your condition or give you certain medicines to you know lessen your pain or discomfort. So that provision is already there in our organization, not as a policy I would say, but as a as a human being, this exists in our organization. That is there. What Shweta ma'am said, I totally agree with that. And in addition to that, I would like to add that, as I mentioned, we should start early. by saying that, if you recall, in our school days, there used to be a session either from a company made from Whisper or Carefree, and they used to come and have a separate session for only and only the girls. And this was the talking topic for the boys. Shh, तेरे को पता है, everybody knew, but it used to be as if कोई तो मतलब कुछ होने वाला है, and the boys had a gala time, for the girls going to a separate either a library or a biology lab to have a session about what is periods all about, and they spoke about menstrual hygiene. Some of the girls had not even seen how a sanitary pad looked like, because it was first for her, because घर पे तो बात होती ही नहीं है इसके बारे में, right? So my thing is, why only for girls? Include boys also. When you do something which is inclusive, उसको कुछ ऐसा टैबू ही नहीं रखना है कि ये सेपरेट सिर्फ गर्ल्स का ही सेशन रखना है, उसमें बॉयज को भी लेके जाओ. इट्स ओके, लेट देम आल्सो हैव अ फील कि होता क्या है. ओके, एंड टेल देम घर पे मदर्स को भी होती है, सिस्टर्स को भी होती है, और किसी को पेट में दर्द हो रहा है या समथिंग, तो यू शुडंट लाफ. और योर फ्रेंड, सम क्लासमेट इज हैविंग पेट में दर्द हो रहा है, और you see a spotting, you shouldn't laugh. So it is all about gender sensitization. This word comes into play right from the beginning. We need to tell our kids, and this period, this generation of boys, when they grow up, they are going to be in some organization, and that time they will definitely understand. So sowing the seeds is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I strongly agree with you, Prabha ma'am, and you'll be glad to know, and I proudly share that we at Pinkish have a considerable amount of boys volunteers as well. You know, those who join us for different workshop. You will be glad to know that we are also catering to co-ed education schools where we give these MHM workshops, menstrual hygiene and management workshops, and the amount of response, the quality of response has been really incredible. You know, because what I feel, when you give those education workshops and sessions, what you talk and how you talk is also impactful. Yeah. So probably earlier, the people, those who were taking these initiative, they also didn't have that courage to, talk to boys, because the rituals, the society mindset has been such. But now, earlier it was all about bol sakhi bol tera raaz kya hai, but nowadays we see the ads jahan pe father not being the mother not at home is managing the periods for the daughter. The boys are helping, classmate girls for managing their periods. So I'm sure the generation next to us is bit settled from what we have been a part of. I would not say that it would be that considerably different that we saw, but changes are happening, and it is happening because forums like this are happening. Forums are this, like, they are highlighting that there is a no need to talk about it. There's high time now we should be doing a hush hush about it. So, and I'm sure most of the women with today gather courage. If we all can talk, about it openly, why don't they talk about it in their family itself, to their daughters, even to their sons? Yeah. So now my question is to Niharika ma'am. Niharika ma'am, what is your view on the overall perception and attitude towards menstruation within your workplace and amongst your colleagues specifically?
Gladly, I've had colleagues who understand that it is actually a regular and absolutely normal biological process. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, I have got cooperation, I have got help, I've got understanding that, okay, fine, you need rest, go. I will take care of this. Okay. But be back by this time. That condition is there. And as I also mentioned, that change is on its way. And slowly but gradually, people are understanding that this is a part and parcel of life. For example, when men shave, okay, they don't go inside the bathroom and then lock it and then shave. No, right? Because we understand it's a normal biological process. Okay. Men shave their beard, again it comes up. So I'm very sure that even menstrual hygiene and menstruation is on its way to be a normal process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Niharika ma'am, for your support in that, saying that yes, it is going to be normal, and we must ensure. And probably we sitting here as the speakers for the day, probably we all have taken this responsibility of doing things better, at least in our families, and certainly the things will change the outward as well. So now my question to all the panel speakers here, Shweta ma'am, Prabha ma'am, and Niharika ma'am, and any one of you can choose to speak first, is what would be your suggestions for raising awareness about this taboo, what has been so far, menstruation, and related issues in uniformed services? Yes, Shweta ma'am, you can talk.
Yeah, I was reading Prime Minister's tweet today, and the tweet said, that Har Ghar Tiranga campaign that he has started off, and in that he says Har Ghar Tiranga is being done during, when 15th August is approaching, because it invokes a sense of national pride which is needed for the national progress. To align today's program, to align today's awareness session about menstrual hygiene with something like Har Ghar Tiranga campaign by itself is something you are doing for the sake of national pride. You're doing for the, something which impacts national progress in a great way. So I totally believe such awareness sessions should be done more frequently in every institution, whether school, colleges, or other organizations. Such awareness sessions should be done more frequently. So, I heard Commander Prabha was saying that we can report one particular incident that is coming to my mind is that we can report sick. I have been report sick. If I have my periods, I can go to the medical officer and tell that I am having periods, and therefore I am not comfortable doing my duty today. But I have been in a situation during Operation Parakram, 7 months living in tent, just few meters short of Indo-Pak border, holding that बॉडी टैग जो हम बॉडी पर बांधते हैं, आपकी बॉडी आइडेंटिफाई हो जाए in case of when war happens and you lose life. So in such scenario, 7 months sitting in tents in extreme desert area, and uncertainties when any day the orders could have come. If you all know, Operation Parakram happened when Indian Parliament was attacked, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee had moved entire almost 6 lakh forces to the Indo-Pak border to launch an attack on Pakistan. And I was one of the very few at that point in time. There were very few lady officers, and I was amongst the very few who was there sitting on the border with my air defense regiment. And for 7 long months, this uncertainty continued. For 7 long months, sitting in tent with 6 lakh men, no women around, to handle your situation, to handle your personal hygiene in such scenarios is a challenge. We've done it. Lady officers are selected in such a way that you have a psychology, a positive attitude to deal with situations, any of the difficult situations, and they are trained in a way to positively come out of such situations. So we've done it, and while we have done it, we've said some, like I said, when you're doing it for the first time, there are no paths, but then you blaze the trail for others to come. So there are case studies now for younger girls to follow, for younger girls to understand how things were managed in those days and how we can do it better. So I will stop at that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Shweta ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Prabha ma'am, what is your support and view in this? How do you think the initiative and things must happen in this regard?
Yeah. I would suggest two things for any lady or a girl. First is whenever a girl has periods for the first time, she may be aware, she may not be aware. So that is a challenging thing. So it is better to educate the girl child so that she is prepared. When I talk about preparedness, in terms of जिसको पहले से हो चुका है, there is nothing stopping you. You are already aware that my dates are so and so. So you need to be prepared. The environment has to be conducive enough. Like you need to carry your own stuff with you, your own stock, so that you are not in a shock. कि अरे अचानक से मुझे हो गया, अब मैं क्या करूं? Asking or seeking resources. किसको पूछूं, कहाँ से लेके जाऊं? availability of sanitary pads either in the office washroom or anywhere. So किसी के ऊपर मुझे क्यों निर्भर होना है? That's one. That is my way of thinking. I always carry 2 sanitary pads in my purse every time wherever I have to step out of my home. So 2 sanitary pads is always there in my purse. That is one. So you need to be prepared in case you're having any issues in terms of pain. Have your painkillers also with you. So be prepared. So these 2 things I would suggest, along with what initiative what Captain Shweta had already mentioned.
Absolutely. Where Shweta ma'am said more such panel discussions, more such workshops must happen in order to ensure that girls and women are getting right education about it, and they feel that the discussion must give them the courage about talking about it openly. And on the other hand, Prabha ma'am says, take your responsibility, stay prepared. And you will be glad to know, Prabha ma'am, we at Pinkish, we have realized that most of the moms are also not comfortable talking about, how to talk to their daughters about their first periods. So we at Pinkish also support women and families with that support as well, wherein we conduct specific sessions on where we will be coming or doing an online meeting with your daughter, and we will be telling her this to her, the entire narrative in form of a beautiful story which will make the job easy for you, so that this would be supported what Prabha ma'am said, stay prepared. Anytime this would come for the first time, and take your responsibility. A beautiful conjunction you have given here, ma'am, to this show, Prabha ma'am, and beautifully elaborated by Shweta ma'am. This is what we have been trying, Shweta ma'am, and that's why we have gotten this series of online forums wherein we try to find out specific themes and bring specific people from different background, so that we have that variation and diversification also to understand the views and perspective. So what is your view in this, Niharika ma'am? Do you want to add something? I'm sure you would be having something beautiful to add to this.
Sure, ma'am. Firstly, I greatly applaud the efforts of Pinkish Foundation for even sensitizing the mothers. Because however much a teacher or an agency or an organization would explain, though you, no doubt you are professionally trained, but the warmth and I think the touch of personalization that a mother can bring into this conversation is out of the world, and a daughter feels much more comfortable and much more secure when it is coming from her own most trusted person, that is the mother and father, of course. Okay. So apart from these sessions where you sensitize mothers, I would also wish for more information about the sanitary products. Like today, it is not just pads that are available. We are also gradually moving towards sustainable menstruation. For example,
Absolutely.
you might be aware that sanitary napkins, they take hundreds of years to decompose. Okay. And
Please
they
come.
end up
Yes.
just polluting the landfill. So today we have reusable pads and biodegradable pads, menstrual cups. There are a lot of sustainable options. So moving along with the time, it is very much necessary that people be made aware of various options that they have. Okay. Honestly, I got to know about menstrual cup pretty late. That is 2018. Okay. And now I think, oh my God, it is such a convenient, sustainable, cost-effective option. I wonder why it is not being widely promoted. It There should be policies at workplace, at maybe every possible level to promote this, because you can just carry it anywhere, and like I said, there is no disposable problem, so that even if there is a lady officer who's posted at a remote corner, or you are into flying and you just have access to one washroom. Some washrooms don't even have dustbin. I've had to use them. Okay. So in such cases, menstrual cups actually come to your rescue. What I wish is that these sort of sustainable menstrual products be promoted along with the talk and necessary information being passed on. This is my suggestion.
Absolutely, ma'am. And you will be glad to know that whenever we are taking the menstrual hygiene workshops, we not only go with pads, because this is what people are able to relate with. Periods means pads. So we also go with menstrual cups. We also go with tampons, and we try to give them a comparative cost study also, so that they understand, and the impact study also. This much you will be investing on if you buy pads, and then the consequences are this, the environmental sustainability issues there. But if you start using menstrual cups or things like tampons, which are biodegradable in nature, so this is the impact you're going to create. And all these girls that we interact with, all these co-ed students that we interact with, they really like the idea of using tampons and menstrual cups instead of using pads. So now we are also trying to give that perspective. Empowerment is not only when you get facility to uh, you know establish yourself. Empowerment is also when you ensure that your actions and reactions are not deteriorating the environment around you, and you are taking care of the environment as well, because that's the, again, prime issue these days. So yes, absolutely agree with you, Niharika ma'am. So now, dear panelist members, as you all know, that this platform, our this program is all about a project called Pratham, which is an initiative to celebrate the first period of every girl. Yeah, be it at a smaller level. So I want to know and understand your views on the initiative of celebrating periods, and what are your suggestions for us at Pinkish Foundation in order to move us further. Yes, Shweta ma'am, let's start with you.
Yeah, Dr. Ruchi, I was reading one of the data on your website. It said 60% of the girls miss schools because they are going through their first initial periods, and most of them end up having no more further education. So, which is a staggering amount of staggering number of girls missing out schooling and studies. So, whether it should be celebrated, or whether every time there is a period, an awareness session is there within the schools or within the colleges, and teachers are comfortable talking about it in their classes, when that happens, then certainly this dropping out of girls from the schools will stop, and more awareness will be there. So I totally appreciate, and I'm absolutely admiring your initiative of Pratham, when you are celebrating the first period of a girl, so that the girl is not apprehensive that ye mujhe kya ho gaya, ye kya hai. It is being celebrated that you are now maturing, you are big enough to understand better things in life. So it is not that the girl takes a back step and goes inside, looks for answers inside. Instead, when she sees the celebration happening in front, then she knows that if there is some query, or if there are some things that I need to know, I can freely ask about it. So once you start celebrating it, that openness happens, and that openness allows girls to talk about it rather than going inwards and sulking, and probably at times going in depression when not getting the right answer. So totally appreciate, and I'm absolutely find myself resonating with the views of Pinkish Foundation and your initiatives, and totally applaud your initiatives. Very happy for it.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am. Thank you, Shweta ma'am. So, Prabha ma'am, before I come to you, we have used this word celebration, and believe us, it doesn't mean celebration means putting on those balloons and calling out people and doing a gaga. The celebration has to be about involving parents in the journey. So a mother does everything, mother has been doing everything, but we also now encourage the role of a father. I'm sure some of you must have seen this story that recently happened in Kashipur. A music teacher celebrated the first period of her daughter. And we at Pinkish were following this story because this is something really, very close to our heart. And we were shocked to read the comments of the youth who have posted here. There were remarkable 20-30% positive comments, and there were remarkable 80%, 70% lewd comments by the youth of India, by the generation, next generation kids of India. And we were really shocked. So, Prabha ma'am, while we talk about celebrating periods, we want to encourage that mindset in a girl that it is something very normal to your body. It is something very normal to your growth. So what is your view, in our this initiative, ma'am? And do you want to suggest something else so that we can, firmly move ahead and stay on this cause of ours?
Yes, definitely. I was born and brought up in Guwahati. So there, this concept of celebrating periods, similar to a mini marriage, is there. So I have seen the kind of, it is as if you are like it's a except the wedding barat procession, everything is same. So they have a very gala celebration over there, and the entire society now knows that yes, this girl has already had her first periods. So that kind of maturity is there. I'm not talking about only the celebration part, and then follows certain norms, do's and don'ts, 3 days ye nahi karna or wo, that is also there. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, along with the do's and don'ts as a society, they need to tell the reason why they are not supposed to do this. Let's say when we talk about that, they are only supposed to have bina masaledar khana or something. It is because they have just started their periods, and पेट में गैस हो सकता है, that will add to the periods का pain. So something like that, we also need to tell the reason why. जमीन पे ये करना, किचन में नहीं जाना, किचन में नहीं जाना, the reason is so that the girl or the women should have some rest.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
shouldn't be as a taboo. It should be told to them as because of its reason why they are not. A society has been made, and there are certain norms to be followed. Everybody these days, if they are comfortable, it's okay, not required. In a nuclear family abhi itna nahi hota, but yes, in some of the families they still follows these norms. But the norm should be told in a way to the other family members that this is not because of इसको छूना नहीं है, इसको छूना नहीं है, इसको क्यों नहीं छूना है, because इसको आराम करना है, इसको लेटने दे, इसको खाना नहीं बनाना है, because इसको आराम करना है, because the body is undergoing certain hormonal changes. That is one. Sensitizing the girl child as well as the entire family member, be it the father or the son in the family, about why. That is important. Second is, let's say the government is having midday meal scheme, and as Captain Shweta also mentioned, and the statistics on your website also mentioned, कि जब पहली बार periods होता है तो गांव में अभी भी बहुत सारी लड़कियों का schooling बंद हो जाता है. So a small incentive every month can be given to the girl child in rural schools to buy, let's say, sanitary products. So, and all those who continue schooling, a small token product, जिस तरह की अगर मिड डे मील स्कूल में दिया जा रहा है तो बच्चे कम से कम उसी बहाने स्कूलिंग के लिए आएंगे. उसी तरह a small token can be given to the girl child for buying sanitary products if she continues in the school. This may be thought of, other than sensitization to the entire family and the society.
Absolutely. Thank you, Prabha. Thank you for insisting on this point, because most of the problems are in picture because we don't talk about it. In the families, we have been witnessing that mothers didn't talk about it because their mothers didn't teach them to talk about it, and that is why they kept hiding pains, and most of them became a victim of cancer. Most of them became the victim of a number of infections that occurred because of such problems, because they kept hiding it, because they kept it to themselves, because they were brought in such a manner. It's a girl thing. But now that we are sitting together on this chair, now we are sitting together on this topic today itself is a sign that it is not too much of a women thing. It is a thing which is a natural process, and it should be a part of every book that we teach in this school, every workshop that must happen in the schools and workshops and colleges and universities. And very well said by Prabha, some incentive scheme, to motivate these girls not to leave schools. Probably they leave school because they don't have facility and budget in hand to manage their periods. Probably they can't afford it, so that can be a considerable thought while why they leave school. So Niharika ma'am, what would be your view? What do you suggest or think about our initiative of celebrating periods, where we specifically focus on, let's talk about it, let's now openly talk about it, let the girl feel good about herself when she witnesses her period? कैसे चली गई, कैसे गई? Shit, यार. हाँ हाँ
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, there was a network issue at this end.
yes
Prabha
yes
ma'am,
the electricity yes
yes, yeah.
Niharika ma'am
Prabha ma'am, I really loved your suggestion that a small incentive can actually keep back schools. I mean, it will be a win-win situation, both in terms of girls' education, their schooling, and their menstrual hygiene. Okay, I would. My suggestion would be that we should actually revisit some of our traditions, like because it's not okay to discard the baby with the bathwater, right? So a lot of our traditions that do not touch, do not cook, they originate from this very idea that a woman should be given rest. For example, that idea is now coming back. That has been reinvented as something called period leave, right? So that is actually an initiative to provide the much needed rest to women, especially during their periods. So, revisiting traditions and pondering over them, like why has it originated, and then thinking, okay, if this has a positive impact, let me take it. So, I think that would be a stride in both maintaining traditions as well as facilitating more openness and more talk about menstrual hygiene.
Yeah, that's really nice. The more we talk about as if it's not a taboo in the society, the more this awareness is being spread. It's very important that this awareness has to spread to each member of the family and the society. Then only the society can progress. So it should be just like today when we proudly say that India mein ab polio nahi hai. So the campaign was run in a manner, a very hard fashion manner कि इसको हटाना है. उसी तरह this campaign for removing the taboo कि ये periods है और इसको एक taboo की तरह हमें देखना है. We have to instill a sort of how do I say, that this is no longer a taboo in each and
Exactly.
every member of the society. This is really very the need of the hour right now.
Ma'am, I would like to add that the tradition of celebrating the first period exists even now in South India.
Yes.
As you said, it is celebrated like a man, like it is conducted like a wedding. Okay, there are guests invited, and of course, the girl is made to rest. I'm sure it has its roots in the fact that the very first time could be a daunting task. Okay, while today's, I mean, the sanitary napkins and all of them, they advertise that, okay, go climb a mountain. Honestly, I don't want to climb a mountain. Maybe I just want to sit with a mound of chocolate. Okay, what will you do? But the fact that okay you can actually take rest and your body is needs to cope with that, especially during the first time. These I think these rituals are something that originated keeping that fact in mind, and respecting them and following them would be wouldn't be a bad thing at all. In fact, it could be a welcome change.
True. True.
I think Dr. Ruchi has, we've lost her because of probably light issues or connection issues or something.
Okay.
But we are almost through the session.
Mm. I think we are getting her back.
Okay,
yeah I'm
great.
so sorry.
Great to have you, Dr. Ruchi.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I was, I don't know, somewhere I had this intuition in the morning this might happen, but I'm sure you all kept our audience engaged with your beautiful conversation around this beautiful topic of celebrating periods. And I really thank you all, क्योंकि आज आप लोगों ने आ करके जो हम लोगों का साहस बढ़ाया है, ये सिर्फ एक मौका नहीं था किसी विषय पे बात करने का. विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट निहारिका मैम, प्रभा मैम एंड श्वेता मैम, आज आप लोगों को भी मैं ये याद दिलाना चाहती हूँ, ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि आप लोगों ने आज आकर के जो हमारा साहस बढ़ाया है, पिंकिश फाउंडेशन का ओवरऑल, जो हमारे इनिशिएटिव में हमारे साथ देने की आपने बातें की हैं, आपने जो हमें सुझाव दिए हैं, हम इन सबको आगे लेके पूरे दिल से बढ़ना चाहेंगे। और मैं आज की अपनी ऑडियंस के से ये ज़रूर गुजारिश करना चाहूँगी कि ठीक है, बड़े लेवल पे बात मत कीजिए, इस बारे में कदम उठाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, हम लोग यहाँ बैठे हैं, लेकिन हम लोगों को सपोर्ट कीजिए, हम लोगों के साथ आगे बढ़िए। आपके मन में कोई भी सवाल जवाब है इस टॉपिक को लेकर के, मेरा नंबर नीचे दिया हुआ है, आप किसी भी टाइम मुझसे कनेक्ट कीजिए और लेट्स स्टार्ट सेलिब्रेटिंग पीरियड्स, लेट्स स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट इट सो दैट नो वुमन फील्स ashamed about her periods, yeah, which most of us have witnessed as mom, as grandmoms and as mothers even. क्योंकि श्वेता मैम सेशन शुरू हुआ तो उन्होंने कहा ये सिर्फ विलेजेस की बात नहीं है, रूरल एरियाज की बात नहीं है, दिस हैपेंस इन A tier and B tier cities as well. So now today's session I would just like to include on this one saying, आप देश के किसी भी कोने में हो, आप देश के अंदर रहकर कोई भी रोल निभा रहे हो, ये स्त्रियां, जो ये महिलाएं जिन्होंने आज हमारा फोरम ज्वाइन किया, ये एक बहुत अच्छा उदाहरण है उस सशक्तिकरण का कि आप किसी भी रोल में रह करके जब देश सेवा की बात आती है, आपके आड़े में कुछ भी नहीं आता। लेकिन इन सबको भी लगता है कि एक जरूरत है हम सबको आगे बढ़ने की, और क्योंकि देश सेवा भी एक उस वर्क प्लेस में ही आती है जहां पे हम अपने देश की सेवा करते हैं, बिल्कुल निस्वार्थ होकर करते हैं, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं एज अ वुमन, एज अ लेडी, मुझे भी वो सपोर्ट चाहिए कि लोग मुझे समझें, मेरी शारीरिक संरचना को समझें और मुझे सपोर्ट करें, यू नो। ये और आई एम श्योर ये इस डिस्कशन के बाद आज ही से काफी सारी जगहों पे, वर्क प्लेसेस पे ये चेंज होना शुरू हो जाएगा, क्योंकि आज का सारा फोरम, आज का सारा पैनल इसी बात पर फोकस था कि सेलिब्रेट करना पीरियड्स को, इस बारे में बात करना कितना महत्वपूर्ण है। सो श्वेता मैम, निहारिका मैम एंड प्रभा मैम, आप लोगों का तहे दिल से शुक्रिया कि आप लोगों ने इस फोरम पे आज आने के लिए हामी भरी। और आप लोगों को पता नहीं है आज आप लोगों ने क्या किया है, आप लोगों की उपस्थिति हम लोगों के लिए एक वेटेज लेके आई है कि कोई भी महिला इस चीज से अचूकी नहीं है। हाँ, हर महिला ने अपने समय में, अपने जीवन काल में ये चीजों की, ये परिस्थितियों से बाहर निकला है, और आप लोगों ने एक सशक्तिकरण का उदाहरण दिया है कि आप सब देश की उन सभी महिलाओं के साथ हैं जो इस बारे में आगे उठकर बात करना चाहती हैं और इस बारे में अपने विचारों को और अपने आसपास के विचारों को बदलना चाहती हैं। सो आप लोगों का तहे दिल से शुक्रिया। और जाते हुए मैम, एक बार फिर से पिंकिश फाउंडेशन की तरफ से मेरा जय हिंद आप सभी के लिए, और बहुत 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 थैंक यू, आप लोगों ने इस फोरम पे आने के लिए हामी भरी।
जय हिंद। जय
थैंक यू सो मच मैम। जय हिंद।
थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू।